Children feel the effects of stress before they even understand what it is. And as they grow and develop mentally, physically, socially, they begin to recognize stress, but may still not know how to effectively navigate its impact. And with that, Andrew, I want to say, how is stress different from anxiety?
It's a really good question because most people mistake anxiety for stress
Yeah.
because they feel similar in our
Well, doesn't
bodies.
it feel the
They
same?
yeah, they feel very, very similar. So one of the things that I like to share with people to help differentiate the two, going back to the workout,
Mm-hmm.
you're experiencing the pressure and the weight of those exercises,
Right.
and they're actually good for you. But if you're thinking, oh my God, I gotta go to the gym and it's gonna be horrible. I'm gonna drop the weights on my foot. And it's a negative anticipation of something.
Mm.
That's what anxiety is. It's a picture of the future that's
Oh,
negative.
okay. A picture of the future. That's
That's
something to
negative,
keep in mind.
right? A
Okay.
negative picture of the future will create anxiety for you and your body.
Okay.
Whereas stress is just a reality, it's a
Mm.
part of life. There are some things, like we said before, they're stressful,
Yeah.
but they're not necessarily bad, but they don't make us feel anxious.
Right.
When we start to worry, what's going to happen? I don't know if, I don't think I'm capable, and we picture all these things, then
Yeah.
we feel the stress of anxiety in our bodies.
Okay, but what about kids now that are raised in a high stress environment? Is that positive or negative, or can it be both?
Well, if you think about stress, when people say high stress environment,
Hmm.
what does that actually mean? Does that mean there are expectations of these children to
Right.
perform beyond their developmental ability, or are we challenging these children to do what they have the capacity to do? I
Hmm.
think there's a
There
difference.
is a difference.
Yeah.
That's
I
true.
have a 5-year-old, or one of our foster sons, he's 5, and reading doesn't come well easily to him.
Hmm.
So he gets frustrated because he can't do it. Now, is my expectation of him to try putting stress on him? Yes. Is my expectation of him to do it perfectly? If I don't have that expectation.
Right.
He has that expectation. So there's stress in
Mm.
the environment, but it's not bad. Now, if I expect him to be perfect,
Right.
not only am I putting stress on him, but I'm going to induce anxiety in him.
Yeah.
So depends on the kind of stress in the environment.
And then on the flip side, if you take a look at an environment where a child is low stress, where there's absolutely no expectations, what are we looking at there? What are we finding?
Honestly, usually that's anxiety of the parent because they don't want to
Mm,
put that stress on the child. But then that child is not prepared, and that child usually ends up with behavioral concerns because there aren't enough limits or expectations.
wow. I have to make a comment on that because my own father, because of his trauma, decided to be a real hands-off parent.
Hmm.
But I share about my own experience, whereas for me, I interpreted that he didn't care.
Right.
And yet that was the farthest the thing from the truth. He just didn't know how to parent, so he thought, "Well, if I just stay
Remove
back." Yeah,
myself, I'll do less damage.
right?
Parenting is not about being perfect. It's
Mm,
not, because there's no such thing as a perfect parent.
no,
So being prepared to address it when you get it wrong,
right.
that's more valuable than trying to remove or even overperform, because a lot of parents, they overfunction. And when you overfunction, then you leave less room for your child to do what they can do, so they underfunction.
Now, let's move up into the teenage years.
Mhm.
So you have a child, they're reaching puberty, and we know that puberty brings a whole flood of hormonal changes and everything.
Mhm.
How do we help our child into this phase and look at it as something that is natural and positive when, they're feeling like the world is crashing?
So part of being patient is actually accessing empathy.
Mm,
Because when we access empathy, we'll appreciate that this is something new and challenging for this child.
right.
But the truth is, it's also new and challenging for us because
Yes, it
they're
is.
changing.
Yes, it
They're a
is.
different person. Like, who is this kid? Like,
Right?
so being patient with yourself is going to be important, but
Ooh,
being able to actually acknowledge what we feel. Now, a lot of people, they don't like to deal with feelings because
no,
they're just not used to them, and we think
right.
that they're unnecessary. But
Mm,
everything we do is based on how we feel.
so
So
true.
being able to acknowledge that, even your level of discomfort with
Mhm.
what's, or disappointment with what's happening, or acknowledging what you see in them. I tell parents to listen with their eyes. Pay attention
Mm,
to what you see.
so
Describe what you
interesting.
see. If you don't have the emotional repertoire, that's okay. You
Yeah.
have eyes, right?
Yeah.
Describe the look that you see on their face. I'm seeing this look on your face. I've never seen it before.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Can you help me understand? And that will help you tap into empathy.
And then you'll be able to help them walk through those changes of schools and new friends and expectations of life.
Precisely.
So many things like that.